What's good, YouTube? You know we're back with another banger. You feel me? Today we're gonna react to 3 true cabins and a horror in the woods horror story. It's a Sunday, and you know what we do on Sunday? Super scary, spooky Sunday. You feel me? SSS 4. Today's gonna be the fourth one or fifth one. I don't know. But let's get straight into the video now. Some light, some
This was about
simple.
3 years ago, early January, right in the middle of one of the worst stretches of my adult life. I'd just gone through a breakup and ended a 4-year relationship.
Bro, if you don't go get your wife back, talking about a 4-year relation, man, that's your soulmate. That's not no relationship. That's a commitment. You guys can't just break up after 4 years. No, it don't work like that. 4 years, bro. You guys probably met each other's family. You probably talked about kids. You probably talked 4 years. You guys done the deed like so many times by now, bro. That's your soulmate. That's your wife. That's your suga. That's your sweet honey plantain. Man, if you gotta go get your wife, bro. I will pay for you to get like a date or anything, bro. Spin back. Spin back. I'll get like you guys need a therapist or something. Guys, you guys need to talk it out, do the peace path or whatever. Cause you can't just like 4 years. Nah, bro.
Lost my apartment along with it since we'd been
And your
splitting
apartment?
rent, and was temporarily crashing at my older sister Dana's spare room. Dana's great, genuinely, but there's something suffocating about being 31 years old and sleeping in a room that still has a poster of a boy band on the wall. Every
31 is
morning I
dope.
woke up feeling
You 31 years old and you don't got your own like place yet. Bro, I know you were a fool in class, bro. Like if you like this is why I tell people lock in like high school year, get yourself a good diploma or whatever, and then get yourself a job so that you can have your own place. Imagine you don't want to be 31 years old. Like no offense to people that are, but you don't want to be 31 years old and still living at your parents' like sister place or whatever. Unless where you live at like it just costs an insane amount of money to like just like rent or have your own place. But like 31, like if you was 21, I would be like something yeah makes sense. But 31, you don't got your life together by 30.
like I was slowly disappearing. Dana's
Like
the kind of person who fixes
you are a user, gang. You can't be a nobody at 31. You gotta be a somebody, gang. Like I don't want to be a no loser, no nobody by the age of 31. I want to be something.
problems by filling them with activity. So when she mentioned that a coworker of hers, a woman named Paulette, needed someone to check on her family's rental cabin in the Catskills, Dana volunteered me before I can open my mouth. 3-hour drive upstate, midweek, totally empty property. Paulette needed someone to make sure the pipes hadn't frozen and to photograph some water damage near the back wall for insurance. She'd pay me $200 and cover gas. I said yes for the same reason I was saying yes to almost everything that winter. Having somewhere to be felt better than not having somewhere to be. I drove up on a Wednesday.
Or you could just get a job, you know.
The Catskills in early January are
This isn't gonna last. This is not gonna
dark in the way that's almost beautiful. Bare trees against a white-gray sky. Roads dusted with old snow nobody had bothered.
God dang, bro.
Clear. The cabin was down a long, unmarked road where the pavement eventually became gravel. Smaller than I expected. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a main room.
All right, now, first thing you do, check every nooks and crannies of that house, you know. I played Fears of Phantom, right? I played the Fears of Phantom when they went on that the wood cabin retreat. All right, I know exactly what happened. There's gonna be some old man or creep or homeless guy or some creep that's actually staying there for the past 2 years, and since nobody came and checked up, he just considered that his living house. All right, so you gotta make sure every nooks and cranny is you gotta check every creaks and cracks, my friend. Every single place that you feel like a human body could hide themselves, you gotta check. I played too much horror games to not do this. Yeah, like you got to be a professional.
With a wood stove and a narrow loft accessible by a ladder that was more of a steep staircase, hunting prints on the wall, a mounted fish above the fireplace, a stack of board games that hadn't been touched since the early 2000s. I did the walkthrough quickly, photographed the damage, checked the pipes, wrote down what Paulette needed. Everything was fine. It was already past 5 when I finished. The sun was already gone the way it disappears in January. I'd driven 3 hours to spend 40 minutes working, and turning right back around felt almost offensive.
Nah, you should spin right back now, you know. You like I don't want to be you, but I don't want to spend the night at a cabin in the middle of nowhere by yourself. Especially you have no dogs. You don't got no dogs. You don't got nothing to protect you. All right, you by yourself in the middle of the cabin, bro. You're gonna get done dirty. Anybody that pops up, any animal that sneaks up on you, you're cooked. You're cooked. You're finished. You're done. There's no way out of this. Why would you want to spend the middle? Why would you want to spend you like a night at a thinking cabin that hasn't been touched by anybody in a while, in like in the middle of nowhere, and it's wintertime? You're fried. You have no escape.
I texted Dana asking if I could stay the night. She checked,
Why?
came back with a thumbs up and the Wi-Fi password. I made pasta from the dry goods in the pantry, watched something on my laptop, drank a beer, and by 10 o'clock I was more relaxed than I'd been in weeks. Something about the total quiet worked on me. No street noise, no neighbors, just the occasional creak from the structure settling in the cold. I took the main bedroom and fell asleep fast. I don't know what time it was when I woke up. Late enough that the room was completely dark. Early enough that it felt like it was the middle of the night. I lay there trying to figure out what had pulled me from sleep. Sometimes you wake up and don't know why. I assumed that was it.
Now, whenever you wake up, you don't know why. That's just your That's just your human nature's reacting to danger, right? Whenever I wake up in the middle of nowhere, that just knows that like there was a threat that my body had to wake up and assess real quick. And once I feel like the threat is cleared, or it was nothing, that's when I go back. Sometimes it's just like squirrels that was passing by that was looking at you from your window. Sometimes it was just a bird. Sometimes it was a deer. You just got your body just wakes up and assess the situation. It's your danger sense.
Then I heard it. A sound from somewhere in the cabin. Not loud. That was the thing that unsettled me the most. If something had crashed, I could.
Oh yeah, you're cooked. Something crashed and suddenly you hear a creak. Yeah, this is where you grab out your double barrel shotgun and keep it tight. All right. First thing you see, you give it 3 seconds. If it don't respond in 3 seconds, you eviscerate it.
Have written it off as the wind or an animal.
No. See, this is white people behavior, right? This is a typical white person behavior in horror movies, all right? They hear something crashing, they hear a creak, and why would it be the wind or an animal? All right. No, bro. It's obviously somebody that's trying to sneak in, bro. Come on, bro. Have you not played horror games, watch horror movies? This is because you're 31 and have no life. Your life skills are doling, bro. Your danger sense isn't as proficient as somebody else.
It was quieter, soft and deliberate, like something being carefully set down.
See?
I told myself it was nothing.
No.
I almost convinced myself. But sleep
Or you could just grab a weapon, close the door. Just make sure at least lock the door.
wouldn't come back. And the longer I lay there, the more aware I became of the silence that followed. It was a listening kind of silence. The kind where you feel like whatever's on the other side of the door is holding its breath the same way you are. I reached for my phone. 3:14. I turned on the flashlight.
3:14? Oh yeah. You know what happens at 3 a.m.? That's when the demons come out. Bro, I used to be so scared at 3 a.m. when I was a kid. I wouldn't even open my eyes at 3 a.m. When they used to tell me at 3 a.m. that's when the monsters came out or whatever, or demons come out. Bro, I had my eyes shut at 3 a.m. Bro, not even a glimpse of light. The moonlight could catch me lacking. My closet, everything locked, everything closed. And if I needed to pee, well, I just held it in. That's probably why I have such a good pee control now. Like I could go like a good 6 hours without peeing if I need to pee real bad.
Pointed it at the door and stared. I can't explain why I got up. Rationally, I should have just locked the door and called someone.
You didn't lock the door? Yo, this guy's a nitwit.
But there's a particular dread that draws you toward the thing that scares you.
No. That particular dread actually makes me more cautious in my environment and try to maximize my possibility of survival.
Just the
uncertainty. And you open the door. Wow. Well, yeah.
I eased the door open and swept the flashlight
Yeah, this guy, you're 31. Nobody's really going to catch
across the main room.
Nobody's going to miss you.
Nothing. The wood stove, the couch, the board games, the mounted fish watching from above the mantel. I checked the bathroom, checked the second bedroom. Both empty. But when
Check under the covers.
I pointed the light toward the loft, my stomach dropped. There was a sleeping bag up there, rolled out flat with a clear
Told you there was somebody hiding, bro. I told you, fear's a phantom. I told you.
impression of someone having
What did I
slept in
say?
it. A water bottle, a canvas bag sitting open with the edge of a folded flannel shirt visible inside. Someone was staying here. My first instinct
Nah, this is where you realize that that he's trapped with you, and you gotta show off your dominance.
was to leave, just grab my keys and go, but the front door chain was still latched from the inside. The chain I had secured before bed. Whoever was up there hadn't come through the front. I was already dialing before I fully decided to. I stepped outside, keeping my voice low. The
I thought it was 3:14 a.m. How is it so bright outside?
January air hit me like a wall, the kind of cold that makes your face ache in seconds. I stood in the snow in my socks until the cruiser pulled up with its lights cutting through the dark. 2 officers went in while I waited on the porch. I heard them move through the rooms, heard one go up the loft ladder, then quiet. One came back and told me no one was inside. The loft was empty, and there was an unlocked window up there that had opened on the back slope of the roof, low enough to drop from. One officer went back inside while the other circled the exterior with his flashlight. I followed, arms crossed against the cold. He rounded the back corner and swept his beam up toward the roof line. He stopped walking immediately. I almost walked into him. There was a man on the roof, heavy set, completely still, sitting with his back against the upper slope like he'd been there a while. He was watching us. He didn't flinch when the light hit him, didn't move, didn't.
I could take him. I could take him. If you were to pull up on me, yeah, I could take it, bro. You hit him with a quick 1-2 weave. You know, hit him with a calf kick, put him on the ground, stun him, and then start curb stomping him. He'll be knocked out.
Speak. Just stared down with an expression I can only describe as completely empty, like the light hadn't reached his eyes at all.
You know, when you ever meet a homeless person and they start describing their life situation, and that's when you realize that that's exactly how your life is looking like right now. So that's when you realize that you're fried. And this is probably what this is happening between this guy and the old man.
The officer called up to him. No response. A second round of commands finally got him moving. Slowly, almost lazily. No panic. Like being found was a minor inconvenience. They got him in cuffs without much struggle. He was older than I thought, somewhere in his 50s, with several days of stubble, and clothing nowhere near warm enough for January in the mountains. Up close, he was even bigger than he looked on the roof. Broad through the shoulders, thick through the chest. The kind of build that makes you instinctively aware of your own size. He stood between the 2 officers with his hands cuffed behind him and that same flat, vacant expression. Staring at nothing in particular. Not the ground, not the trees, not me. Just somewhere past all of it. That's what I kept coming back to on the drive home. That face. That total absence of anything behind it. Because I keep thinking about what would have happened if I hadn't called. If I just convinced myself it was nothing and gone back to sleep. What if I'd come face to face with him, alone?
I would have took him on, bro. That's an easy body. I would have destroyed him. Look at his kneecaps, bro. He can't handle me, bro. I would have hit him with the craziest route. He could not handle me. Look at his knees. They would have got eviscerated. They would have disintegrated trying to keep up with me.
In that narrow, dark cabin, he had to have been pushing 250 pounds. And there was something about the way he moved. Slow, unbothered, unrattled. That told me he wasn't someone who
he's
panicked.
250? Just because he's 250 doesn't mean, you know what I'm saying? The greater the mass, the lower the volume. That means he can't move as good as somebody like me. I'm 180. You know, I would have hit him with that spin move. He can't handle me. He cannot handle me. He's going to be like, oh my God, tumble back and fall on his back. That's a bar. Tumble back and fall on his back. Ooh, I'm tough.
If we had been alone and things had gone differently, I don't think there's a
Get the high grounds, all right? He tries to charge up on you, you drop kick him, all right? And straight to the face. He can't handle it.
version of that story where I come out okay. The officers told me he'd likely just been squatting. Remote properties go unchecked for weeks in the off-season, and apparently it's more common than people realize. Someone looking for warmth finds an unlocked window and makes themselves at home. That's probably all it was. A desperate person, a vacant cabin, bad timing. I just can't fully make myself believe it when I think about that face. I want to start by saying I've debated whether or not to share this for a long time. Years, actually. The people involved know about this post and they're okay with it, but I'm keeping names vague out of respect for them. I also want to be upfront. Nothing about what happened was supernatural. It wasn't a ghost story or a monster story. The horror of it was that it was just people, ordinary-looking people doing something deeply, deliberately evil. That's the part that keeps me up sometimes. This was about 6 years ago. I was 24, fresh out of a rough breakup, newly employed at a marketing firm, and in desperate need of something that felt like normal again. My
Good job.
friend Kara, who has always been better at reading me than I am reading myself, suggested a camping trip to a state park.
Yeah, see, if my friends ever suggest a camping trip, yeah, I'm breaking up. I can't be friends with it. Like, cause why do people want to go camping? Like, if it's not like a place with multiple other people there, no. Why do you want to go camping in the middle of the woods with like by yourself or like 2 or 3 people? Like, if it's not like it has to be at least 10 people for me to go say to consider. Cause I'm not going camping with a group less than 5 in the middle of the woods. No, no. Cause guess what? One person gets hurt or one person gets kidnapped. Yeah, we're cooked. All of us dead. They can pick us off one by one.
About 3 hours north of us. Nothing extreme.
Like, look at this. You have no escape route.
A few nights in a cabin, some hiking, lake swimming if it wasn't too cold. She invited 2 other friends, a woman
Not
named
enough.
Priya and another named Megan. The 4 of us had
Not
all met
enough. You gotta invite 3 more women just in case.
in college and stayed loosely in touch. Close enough to feel like family, spread enough that we had stories to catch up on. The cabin was beautiful, which I wasn't expecting. I think I imagined something closer to a horror movie set. Moldy walls, one functioning light bulb, a porch that had given
If they ever bring me here, I'm gonna assume that they're trying to murder me and trying to keep me quiet. Yeah, let somebody bring me here saying a camping trip. Yeah. Yeah, not only am I gonna hit you with a karate chop to the back of your neck when you least expect it, I'm taking your car and dipping, leaving you there.
up on itself. Instead, we got hardwood floors, a wraparound deck, and a wood-burning fireplace that Megan immediately claimed as her personal project for the entire trip. We arrived on a Thursday afternoon, unpacked,
Girls even
made
do on sleepovers. Cause those boys, we just do nonsense and like be bored all day with each other, and those be the best time. What do girls do? Like makeup party, karaoke? I don't even know. Is it fun? Be honest.
dinner, and sat around talking until well past midnight. It was the most relaxed I'd felt in months. Kara kept catching my eye and smiling like she wanted credit for it. I gave it to her. The second night is where I need to slow down. We'd spent the day hiking at a trail that wound around the eastern edge of the lake. It was a good day. Tired legs, sunburnt shoulders, the pleasant ache of having used your body for something. After dinner, we took our drinks down to the small dock at the end of the property and sat with our feet hanging over the water.
Yeah, and then a piranha comes and chops off one of your toes. If you're lucky, it's your pinky toe. No, that one you don't really need. If you're unlucky, it's your big toe or some of your middle toes. Now you're just gonna look like a mutated freak. Yeah, nobody's gonna suck your toes, bruh. Like, cause like a woman top 3 most attractiveness: thighs, feet, and stinking teeth. All right, those are the top 3. A woman that has all 3, she's a beauty in my eyes. She's a beauty in my eyes.
The sky was doing something extraordinary, the kind of purple-black that you usually only get far from the city lights. And we were all pretty quiet in the way you get quiet when something is genuinely beautiful and you don't want to ruin it. That's when Megan noticed the lantern. It was across the lake, maybe a quarter-mile out.
A lantern? Oh, Jesus Christ, these ladies are fried. They're about to get picked down one by one. They're gonna be turned into the next Jason Ween, Jason Ween horror movie 8. They're gonna I'm playing, but this is how every typical horror movie starts, and these guys are gonna be the next person on Friday the 13th. Camp Crystal, they should have checked. There's a lantern under the side. I don't know any animals that uses lantern. And the last time I checked, you guys, you gals are the only 4 people at this campsite. So if there's a lantern, that means you guys are being stalked. And if you guys are being stalked, that means you guys are cooked, all right? Unless one of you guys know martial arts or kickboxing, you know? Or if one of you guys picked, had an MK-48 in the back seat of your truck or whatever, because hey, being a woman nowadays, you gotta be protected. You gotta have some bare knuckles, pepper spray, I don't know, iron casket, frying pan. You gotta have something to protect yourself. A taser, shoot, a BB gun.
A warm glow that swayed slightly like it was being carried. We watched it for a while without saying anything. It moved along what must have been the far bank, unhurried, just drifting through the tree line. There was something almost meditative about it. Priya said it was probably another camper. Kara agreed. We went back to our drinks, but the lantern stopped.
Yeah, see, listen, I will never convince myself that there's nothing a threat. As soon as I see something suspicious, I immediately think it's a threat, and I gotta assess the threats, assets level, danger level, right? First, what I'm saying, is chill. Second, all right, it goes from first chill, second to life and death situation, all right? And I usually stay in life and death situation. This is why I immediately I go into survival mode and I unlock my inner Cameroonian hunter-gatherer mentality and try to use all my ancestors' experience and life memories, just like the Avatar, and just like immediately call the police, lock the doors, barricade the doors, everything.
Moving.
And then I leave the very next day because I realized that I'm not built for this and I shouldn't have gone camping.
It just sat there, fixed and glowing across the water, pointing at nothing, pointed at us.
Yeah,
it stayed that way for a long time.
Fried.
Long enough that it started to feel less like a coincidence and more like intention.
Fries.
I almost said something about it, but I didn't want to be the person who soured the mood. So I didn't. We went back inside around midnight. I remember lying in bed and listening to the lake. And the way still water makes almost no sound at all, and somehow that's worse than if it made a lot. I fell asleep eventually, but not easily. The next morning, 2 men appeared on the trail beside our cabin. They were friendly. That's the first thing I want you to understand. They were the
2 friendly guys appear to a girl in the cabin with all of us girls. Oh, yeah, they definitely want to do something, all right? They definitely want something, They definitely want to do something, right? They either trying to seduce me, try to crack, they're trying to get my number, or there's some creeps, all right? The nice guys are usually the creep, all right? If a guy pulls up to you all respectful and nice, and it's in the middle of the forest or whatever, yeah, he's definitely a psychopath, all right? Ladies, watch out. But if he's like, but this is why you gotta be like the nice people have made sure that you're extra alerted, all right? Those usually be serial killers or rapists or assaulters or abusers. All right, you gotta watch them. All right, but then if you realize that he's actually just a good guy and everything, all right, then you can lower your guards. But keep your guy always high. Don't let you can't be caught lacking. You can't be caught lacking.
specific kind of friendly that puts you at ease without realizing it's doing that.
Exactly. He wants you to lower your guards. Don't lower your guards. Don't lower. Matter of fact, don't lower your guards against any men. If it's not your stinking parents or family member, don't lower your guard. And even once you do lower your guard, you gotta make sure that any inconvenience, you hire it.
Mid-30s.
Matter of fact, just be gay. Shoot, bro, it's better than this. Especially.
Outdoorsy looking, good at conversation. They said they were staying 2 cabins down from us and spotted us on the trail the day before. One of them had a dog, a yellow lab, and if you want to disarm 4 women in the woods, bringing a friendly dog isn't such a bad strategy.
How did you guys know that I went hiking the other day? If you guys are 2 cabin down, how did you guys know? Actually, I went hiking on the first day, not yesterday. So you guys are stalking me.
Though I'm sure I'm giving them too much credit by assuming they planned that.
Facts.
Maybe they didn't. I honestly didn't know. They chatted with Priya and Megan near the deck while Kara and I finished breakfast inside.
I would have been observing the situation, making sure there's no other men that's actually men or accomplishment trying to scope out our area.
I watched through the window. The guys were relaxed, joking around. The dog was losing its mind over a pine cone. Everything looked fine. I said as much to Kara. She watched for a moment and then said, "The one on the left hasn't taken his eyes off the cabin." I looked. She was right. While his friend was focused.
Look at him. Look at the way he's staring at me. Creep. I knew it. I'm calling the police. You don't listen. If I was a woman, any inconvenience, I'm calling the police. You know, you guys will hate me. Any inconvenience, I'm calling the police. All right. It's just me before. I don't trust these men.
On Priya and Megan. The other one was just steadily, calmly watching the window.
Look at why you like look. No. No, look at the nah. He's making way too much eye contact with this crib for him to not be interested. He was definitely the one scoping out us yesterday night. You know, I would have immediately connected the dots and realized that he was the one that was stalking us on the other side of the campfire, and he was actually trying to get us to know to see, like he was trying to assess like how dangerous we are and to see like if we could take us or if he could proceed with his plan. And after today, he's definitely going to continue to phase 3 of his plan. This is where I mess up everything, and then I call the police and then I take his dog and I make it my dog, and then I pull out that stinking RPG with a switch and just eviscerate him and his whole bloodline.
Watching us. When he caught my eye, he smiled and gave a small wave.
Yeah, how would you know I was staring at you if you weren't staring at me? Like that's the thing. How would you know I'm looking at you if you're not looking at me? Look at him. Look at him. No, 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 no. This is where you pull out the deagle with a switch with an explosive ammo, and you headshot him.
Completely unbothered at having been caught staring into someone else's cabin.
Yeah, see?
Like he was just taking in the scenery.
Yeah, see, this is why I don't. This is why, like, I make sure to make sure that the women are uncomfortable around me, because like imagine dealing with this. Like, it's usually like this is why being like overly nice or anything, like just overly calm and everything, it's kind of weird. Like, this is why I don't blame women when they say like, oh, like he's giving me weird vibes or whatever. Like, cause they have to deal with this.
We said hi. We were polite. They eventually left. That afternoon, Priya noticed the padlock on the small storage shed behind the cabin had been moved. Not broken, just moved. Set down in the grass beside the door latch instead of locked through it. We looked inside. Everything seemed untouched, but none of us could say with certainty how we left it the day before. Kara called the park ranger station. They said they'd send someone to look around, but sounded as concerned as someone being told their neighbor's wind chimes were too loud. We made the decision to leave a night early. I want to be clear that nothing dramatic had happened yet. No threats, no confrontation, nothing we could point to and say with confidence that
These ladies look scared shirtless. This is why I come in and save them as Captain Save a Woman. You know, Captain Save a Girl. Do not fear, because I am here. Come flying in, stop right in front of the cabin, use my laser beam with 5,000 gigawatts of stinking heat, solar energy, and incinerate them.
we were in danger. It was just a collection of small things that each meant almost nothing on their own. The lantern that stopped moving and stayed pointed at our dock. The man who watched our windows. The lock that had been touched. Kara and Megan started packing while Priya and I loaded the car. That's when Priya grabbed my arm and told me not to react. The two men were at the edge of the tree line behind the cabin, maybe 80 feet away. They were just standing there, side by side, the dog nowhere in sight, watching us load the car.
This is why I get inside my car and I start hitting the accelerator, and then I get that speed, and I get that stinking car moving at 95 miles per hour, and just wham them, destroy them. I don't care if I hit the car. No, bro, I'm gonna maneuver around the tree and absolutely demolish them. Just run them over with the car. Cause you wanna be spying on me? Oh yeah, you can spy on me definitely. And then you get hit by this, and then you get screenshotted by this car.
Not talking to each other, not moving, just watching. And it sounds like a small thing, but I want you to really sit with it. They didn't wave, they didn't call out. They made no gesture toward friendliness of any kind. They just stood there at the tree line in the late afternoon light while we put our bags into the car, as if they were waiting to see what we would do next. We got out the car. We drove out. I watched the mirrors for 20 minutes before I stopped shaking. The ranger station was contacted again. The men were identified, questioned, and released. Apparently they hadn't broken any laws. What they did with the storage shed couldn't be proven. The lantern across the lake the night before could have been anyone. The watching could have been written off as coincidence. None of that makes me feel better, because the thing about this kind of horror is that it doesn't need a crime to leave a mark. It just needs you to understand, in your body, in that primitive wiring beneath your...
Yeah, I'm never going camping again. If I was this lady, yeah, I'm never going anywhere without some human interactions in at least 5 meters from me. Like, if I'm not going somewhere where there's not a population of human beings to where if I scream at the top of my lung and people don't come swarming asking me what's wrong or what's wearing, yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Rational thought.
Like, we could have just went to a water park, a hotel, and we could have rented an Airbnb and went somewhere else, but no, we just had to go camping.
Someone was practicing something, that they were close, that they were patient, that the only reason you
You guys were gonna get sacrificed into yeah, you guys were gonna get sacrificed.
didn't have a worse story to
Ironbark Fears of Phantom. Yeah, you guys were gonna get sacrificed to a cult. They would definitely were cult leaders or cult like entry level people.
tell is because you happened to leave because they were ready. My college roommate Devin owns a lake house in upstate New York that his uncle left
Listen, all of these stories are because they're isolated from human interactions. Could never be me.
him when he died. I've heard about the place for years before I ever actually saw it. Devin talked about it in the way people talk about something they're not entirely sure they want. It came up in conversation whenever someone mentioned owning property or getting an inheritance, and he'd kind of shrug and say, yeah, I've got this lake house, in a tone that made it sound more like a burden than a blessing. I never pushed him on it. It wasn't until last September that he finally invited me up. The timing worked out. I'd just wrapped up a brutal stretch at work and Devin had a free weekend. His girlfriend bailed on him last minute. Something came up with her family, and he said he didn't feel like going alone. I told him I'd go. Lake house, end of summer, nothing else on my calendar. It was a pretty easy decision. We drove up on a Friday evening and got there just after dark. The house itself was smaller than I imagined, but nice. A 2-story A-frame sitting maybe 30 yards back from the water, surrounded by pine trees that blocked out almost everything. No neighbors visible from the porch, no real road noise, the kind of quiet that sounds louder than noise does when you're used to the city. Devin hadn't been up here in almost 8 months, and it was obvious from the moment we walked in. There was a thin coat of dust on the counters and a coldness to the place that the heat took a while to break through. Not creepy exactly, just empty in a specific way old houses go empty. We kept it simple the first night, made some food, had a few drinks on the porch, watched the fog roll in off the water around 10. Devin told me his uncle had bought the place in the mid-90s and used it almost every summer until he got sick. After he passed, the property sat in limbo for about 2 years before Devin finally inherited it outright. He'd stayed there twice since then, once by himself and once with a group of friends. And both times he said he'd felt, and he paused here and kind of laughed uncomfortably, like he was being watched. I told him that's just what it felt like to be alone in a quiet place.
Nah, bro, you see this eyes, bro. This guy's visibly shooken. This is not this is not some coincidence. This guy has been caught and done some unspeakable things, and now he's acting as a messenger for a cult to bring in more and new slaves. I watch too much horror movies.
He nodded like he agreed. Neither of us brought it up again.
You don't got a soul.
We went to bed around midnight. Devin took the master bedroom downstairs near the kitchen, and I took the guest room upstairs, which was small but comfortable. Old furniture, a window that looked over the back tree line, a closet with a sliding door that didn't quite close all the way. I noticed that
Check the closet.
Last part before I turned the light off, but didn't think anything of it. It was just the house that had settled. I woke up sometime around 3 in the morning. I didn't know why at first.
Three.
First, there was no sound, no dream I could remember, nothing obvious. I just came out of sleep the way you sometimes do when something's wrong but your brain hasn't figured it out yet. I lay there on my back staring at the ceiling and waited to fall back under. But I didn't. Instead, I became increasingly aware of a feeling that took me a few minutes to identify. It was the air. The room felt...
It's the closet. There's somebody in the closet.
Different, warmer than it had when I fell asleep. Not drastically, not enough to wake me up on its own, but enough that when I turned my head, I noticed the window on the far wall was open. I'd remembered closing it. I stayed completely still for a moment. Then I got up, shut the window, and latched it. I told myself I must have not latched it properly the first time.
Nah, there's somebody hiding in that closet, gang. These guys are some idiots.
The wood was old, the frame swollen from the lake air. It probably just drifted open on its own.
Nah.
I got back in bed, lay there for another 15 minutes, eventually fell back asleep. In the morning, I mentioned the window to Devin over coffee, mostly just making conversation. He put his mug down and looked at me. "Which window?" "The one above the bed, the one facing the trees out back." He said that window didn't open. He said the latch on it was broken years ago, rusted shut, and his uncle had never gotten around to fixing it. He hadn't even thought about it since. He looked at me in a way you look at someone when you're not sure if they're messing with you. I told him I wasn't. We went upstairs together and looked at it. The window was closed. The latch was, in fact, rusted almost completely through. To open it from the inside would have taken real effort. To open it from the outside would have required someone to either break the latch or bypass it entirely. The latch had been broken, not rusted open, broken clean. Devin called a locksmith that afternoon and had every ground floor entry point checked. The guy found nothing tampered with, no forced entry, no signs of anyone had come through the door or low window. He charged Devin $140 and drove away. We stood in the driveway for a while without saying much.
He could have been an accomplice. That's what I'm thinking.
I want to say we left after that. I wish I could say we did. But Devin had driven 3 hours to get up there, and neither of us had any solid reason to leave.
Nah, bro, I'm leaving. Like I said, any sort of guilt or suspicion, I'm dipping.
Not when we could
I
have
wouldn't
explained.
I wouldn't even allow myself to be in that situation. As soon as the first night in that thing, he said that, oh, that thing was like locked closed and his uncle could never open it. And then I see that it was open the one night that I sleep there. Yeah, I'm gone. That's enough reason for me. Shoot, bro. God gave me a free will. That doesn't mean I should abuse it.
Out loud without feeling like we were overreacting. So we stayed another night. We left every interior light on. Devin slept with his door locked. I pushed the dresser in front of my door and wedged a chair underneath the closet handle, even though I knew it didn't make
See, if
complete
you're gonna do all that, just leave, bro. If you're gonna do all that, just leave. It's better.
sense. Nothing happened that night. No sounds, no windows.
I'm not gonna lie, if I was them, I would say that, hey, bro, we gotta sleep in the same room. I'm sleeping in the same room. I don't care, bro. I'm sleeping in the same room. I'm not sleeping by myself, especially in the woods. Nah, 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 no. Two is better than one, and one is not better than one. One is better. Nah, like two is better than one, and one is not better than one in a 1v1. Unless you're me.
Nothing out of place in the morning. We packed up and drove home, and we didn't talk much on the way back. It was about 3 weeks later when Devin called me. He hadn't been back to the house. He'd been up to the property records, though, going through some of his uncle's old paperwork, because he couldn't let it go. He'd been trying to figure out if anyone else had any claim on the property, any other relative who might have a key, some explanation for what happened. He didn't find any other relative. What he found was a rental agreement, a handshake deal his uncle made years back, informal and undocumented beyond a single sheet of paper, with a man who had apparently been using the spare bedroom upstairs through the off-season months for most of the early 2000s. There was a name on the paper, a phone number with an area code Devin didn't recognize, and a single line at the bottom where his uncle had written, in careful cursive of someone who didn't want to forget, "Key never returned." Devin said he stared at that line for a long time. He said he hasn't been back to the house since. He told me he's thought about selling it, just offloading the whole thing and being done with it. But he can't bring himself to do it yet. Not until he knows who that name belongs to. He said he doesn't want to hand the keys to a stranger when there might already be someone out there who thinks he has claim to the place. He told me he's been trying to track down the name on the rental agreement. Old phone number, no social media presence, nothing. Just a name on a piece of paper his uncle had folded and tucked into the back of a filing drawer like he wanted to forget about it too.
Man, not gonna lie, bro. I'm selling that place and letting the other person deal with it. Out of sight, out of mind. Shoot, bro. I'm gonna get too much wrinkles and lose hair thinking over this. The other person just has to deal with it, bro. Simple as that.
Last I heard, he was still looking.
Yeah, man. Somebody else can have it, definitely. Shoot. Not me. Not me. But anyway, y'all, like, subscribe, comment what you think, and I'll see y'all boys and girls next time. Peace out.